special meeting of the Planning Commission. Today is June 16th, 2025. My name is Ed Wagner. I am the Vice Chairperson, and I will be filling in today for our more competent Chairperson, Joseph Sullivan. So, Mr. Bartley, will you please take roll?
Commissioner Chapin.
Present.
Commissioner Denault.
Here.
Commissioner Hendricks. Commissioner Lapine.
Here.
Commissioner Overby.
Here.
Commissioner Putz. Commissioner Sevaleski.
Here.
Vice Chair Wagner.
Here.
Chair Sullivan. We have quorum.
Excellent. Thank you very much. That moves us on to 1.2, the approval of the agenda for this evening. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Moved by Commissioner Overby, thank you, and seconded by Commissioner Chapin. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Okay, the ayes have it, and the agenda is approved for this evening. That moves us on to 2.0, the committee reports. No reports for this evening?
No
or?
reports tonight.
Okay. That moves us on to 3.0, the staff reports.
No staff reports tonight.
Nothing to report.
Nothing new since last
We
week.
are cruising here. Okay. Moving on to 4, commissioner announcements. This is the time when commissioners may express any announcements they may have or a disclosure of conflicts of interest related to our agenda for the evening. Are there any announcements or conflicts? Seeing none, we'll move on to 5, communication from citizens. 5.1, written communications. There were, I counted 9 written communications from citizens in our packet this evening. Do we discuss them now, or do we do anything with the written communication other than?
You can note them if
Okay.
if there is discussion, you can discuss, but otherwise you can wait until the hearing if you'd like.
Okay.
And there was one that was added last minute that is on the table as
Oh,
handed out
okay.
and was uploaded to the agenda as well.
Okay, so there were, I think that makes a total of 10. I did not see that one before the meeting today. So 10 written communications about this, our public hearing for the evening. This brings us to 5.2, verbal from the audience. This is the time when audience members can come up and address the commission with either something on the agenda for this evening or not on the agenda. We ask that if you're here for the public hearing, 6.1 about the Meyer gas station, you wait to have your comments to discuss when we talk about the public hearings. But otherwise, is there anyone who would like to come up now to talk about something other than the proposed gas station? Okay, well, we're cruising right along here. That takes us to 6.1. This is our public hearing for the evening, the reason for our special session. A public hearing to receive comments on request from Matt Levitt on behalf of Meyer, Inc. for approval of a special use permit located at 100 West Lake Lansing Road. The applicant request is to construct a 5,751 square foot gas station with 6 gas pump islands and 12 pumps. The property is zoned B2 Retail Sales Business District. Okay.
Alicia Wrighton,
Thank you.
Planning Department. That was the summary for sure, but we are here tonight because the original Planning Commission vote on April 9th of 2025, as well as the council's scheduled public hearing, did not have the correct noticing sent out to all of the property owners. Meridian Township was left out. So we're back here tonight for the Planning Commission to review the same application. The applicant has made some changes. As best I understand, they've met with several different members of the city council and brought back some of the feedback that they had regarding the appearance of the site. And one of the items that was on the original plan that you saw was a discrepancy in the right-of-way dedication for the sidewalk where it was curved or offset a bit, but they worked out straightening that out by acquiring 5 additional feet to the north of the property so they could have that alignment. The facade itself has had some, on all sides, have had some additional spandrel glass. There's some small tower corners, paint colors, and bricks around the pillars for the pumps. In general, the project itself remains the same. The applicant is here to address any additional topics, questions, or concerns, or if you have questions for me.
Okay. Do commissioners have any questions of staff before we move on to the public hearing? No? Okay, well then I'll
Will the applicant?
have the applicant come up. Will the applicant please come to the podium?
They should, because it's different.
Good evening. My name is Matt Levitt. I am the real estate manager for Meyer. Business address is 2929 Walker Avenue in Grand Rapids. Back in front of you for probably the fourth time, but hopefully starting anew, and we're properly noticed and ready to proceed with this project for consideration from the Planning Commission and then City Council. Meyer is proposing a gas station at the corner of Lake Lansing Road and Abbott on the northwest corner. It is a new generation of Meyer gas stations that is a larger convenience store with 5,700 square feet that we are calling Meyer Express. And the reason that that is relevant is because it's sort of a different shopping experience than the standard convenience store that I would say that most people are used to. If you've been in a Meyer gas station over the years, they've been in front of supercenters, a little bit smaller, but this one is separated from the supercenter store. It is about a mile and a half away from the store on Lake Lansing, and it will offer more than your standard convenience store. It will offer items that are typically not available in convenience stores at gas stations, including fresh food, staple items that you would normally get at a grocery store, bread, milk, eggs, those things that are quick trips that are necessary on evenings or when you're trying to get home from sporting events with kids or something like that. Provides an additional option for people to utilize and get those things that they need quickly and conveniently. We did have, since the last time we were in front of you, we have made some changes. You can see the elevations that are shared on the screen there in conjunction with both staff and some of the council members that we met with to get some feedback. A few items that I'd like to point out are those corner tower elements. We went a little bit softer, more incorporating into sort of the woods that are behind the site. It's actually a new material that we have been working with at different gas stations on the west side of the state. We decided to go ahead and try and incorporate those here. We haven't actually built one with it yet, but we find it promising with the brown wood looking elements. Those are actually steel panels, but they are made to look like wood, more natural than painted brick. The painted brick is on each of the sides. The wood is on each of the corners plus the front of the building. And then we included taller spandrel glass windows that provide a softer look as facing Abbott Road on that east side of the building. One of the other elements that we changed is the brick wrap around the canopy support pillars. That provides some better visual elements than the metal canopy supports. The brick is the same color as the building, so it all blends together and provides a nice seamless look between the pumps and the C-store, excuse me. I am happy to answer any questions. I have Jim Rosema, who is our civil engineer on the project. If you have technical questions from the Meyer side or appearances, I'm also happy to answer those. Anything that you guys would like to chat about, feel free to let me know, and I'm happy to provide some more insight as possible.
Okay, so I just have a procedural question. Should we ask questions now, or should we hear all of the comments first? Ask questions? Okay, so any commissioner have a question for Mr. Levitt?
I don't know if it's a question for Mr. Levitt, or maybe I should have asked it for staff. I was not, unfortunately, at the last meeting, so I don't want to hold anything up if this has already been discussed, but I did see a note in our packet about written verification from CATA for relocation of the Westlake Lansing, I think it's a typo, but sign is required. I feel like at the first time that we had this conversation, there was a request to relocate. CATA said no.
So there were two elements. So there was a bus stop
Yep.
on Abbott,
Yep.
to which they said no, but there's a sign on Westlake Lansing for a stop, but it doesn't have a actual booth, if you will.
Okay.
That actually would have to be moved to the west side of the driveway that's proposed, so it won't even be fronting this property. It'll end up being fronting the neighboring property. So
Okay.
it is a stop, but it's not one with a covered area. It doesn't have a shelter.
Okay,
but
and so
we
the
don't have.
main area that has the shelter on Abbott remains?
Correct.
Okay, cool, thank you, sorry.
Great, that's okay.
Thanks, Commissioner Lapine. Any other questions for the applicant? No? Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we will call up members of the audience. I will just do this in the order that I received these cards. So first we have Mr. Jim Rosem.
Remind him to open the
Please
public
excuse any pronunciation. Tom, Jim?
I don't have any comments. I filled out
Okay.
a card in case I need to answer questions.
Okay, great, thank you.
Commissioner Wagner, just for the record, you should formally open the public hearing.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let's formally open the public hearing.
Now you can do audience.
Okay, now we can do audience hearings. Thank you for your patience with me. Verbal from the audience. We had Mr. Rosem, Mr. Tom Readers-Colliers.
Once again, I'm the architect for the project, here to answer questions. Actually, Matt did my presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Jessica Maxon.
Good evening, Jessica Maxon from Maxon Dental. Approving a gas station across from another gas station at an intersection that is already higher than average crash rate is irresponsible planning. It would be an endangerment to the community and all who travel through this intersection each day. The traffic impact study on page 166 provides facts and details stating that this intersection has a crash frequency of 16 per year, which is higher than average. 21 crashes per year is considered critical. Voting yes this evening to a high-volume business is anything but thoughtful planning for the city. Voting yes this evening tells the community that safety is not a priority for you, and the city should be held responsible for increased accidents at this intersection. I said it before and I'll say it again. Anything but low-profile, suburban-style office and retail is asking too much of this space. Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments. Mr. Greg Maxim.
Greg Maxon, owner of Maxon Dental PC, the adjacent property to the west. You guys have heard us talk enough. I've been a Meijer customer all my life, support Meijer. Rendition 4.0 mat is sharp. I mean, it looks pretty good. Minus the vinyl fencing, maybe, but to be considered maybe later. One of the things I'd like to point out is I'm not opposed to development on this site. I just think we need to keep it to something more low profile and low volume. As Jessica pointed out, it's already a very busy intersection, concerned about safety. 3 doors down to the west of this property proposed, it was approved last year by the city council to develop what they call a single-story multi-tenant retail building with 42 parking space lots. And right now that's currently empty lots and a vacant house. So at or near this intersection, we're going to be seeing a major uptick in traffic and recirculating of traffic. I don't see how that will do anything but make it more risky at this intersection. Also, traffic delays, making it difficult or harder to get in and out for our patients and people that live and work in the area. That's just a concern of mine. I think in the big picture, keeping it to low profile and lower volume would be the best use of this property. And when I say that, I don't just mean a gas station. A gas station or things like fast food, something where there's just going to be a high turnover. I think that that's going to create a lot of risk and a lot of congestion that will be a challenge for all of us there. So, thank you.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Matt Levitt, I assume, Mr. Levitt, would you like to speak again?
He didn't hear you.
Oh, Mr. Levitt, would you, I've got your card here.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay.
We will respond.
I will. If I may.
What's the procedure here?
Yeah,
Is it-
he didn't.
Okay, he didn't have, use his time, so, okay.
Okay.
You have up to 5
Jim
minutes.
Rosema, Colliers Engineering and Design. Address is 560 5th Street in Grand Rapids, Michigan. With respect to the traffic, the study that was performed and the numbers of crashes that take place at the intersection, the largest volume of them happen on the south side of the intersection. Having talked with our traffic consultant internally, he pointed out that the majority of those are those that leave, maybe not the majority, the lion's share of those that are either leaving one or of the two businesses on the south side of the entrance as they're getting onto Abbott southbound or heading northbound on Abbott. The traffic generated by this facility, as is stated in the report, is drive-by largely. Those that have to stop at need to stop for gas on their way to work or home from work. Now, the addition of the C-store offerings that are there, that'll be a convenience for those that are stopping for gas. There may be additional entrances or arrivals at the site to pick up a dozen eggs or a loaf of bread. But the signalized intersection currently functions at a fairly low rate, but the numbers of vehicles generated by this development does not increase the delay excessively. I think the report says about 1 second at the intersection. So the numbers of vehicles coming and going during that from the site, it will increase its development, and that is a natural byproduct of that. But we've defined entrance points and egress points that are one way. So as you are entering or leaving from Lake Lansing, all you may do is take a right to head westbound, and you may only enter from Lake Lansing in a westbound direction. So there will be no left turns into the Lake Lansing entrance drive. Similarly, the first entrance north of the intersection at Abbott, that is a right turn only. So you're heading southbound, and you're entering southbound by making a right-hand turn. The northeast corner of the property does have a bidirectional entrance drive, so folks that are looking to make a left at Lake Lansing, if traffic were queued at a stop, they would likely see that, go to the back entrance and pull into the left turn lane at the signalized intersection. If they're heading northbound, people take the path of least resistance. They'll go to the north egress drive and turn left at that location. So that, from a circulation perspective, we feel we have a safe site design, and I believe our traffic report supports the entrance configuration that we've developed. So, any other questions about that?
It's helpful.
Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments. Pat Gillespie.
Just, we're here to answer any questions. We are the landowner working with Myers, so if there's any questions, happy to answer them.
Okay. Do we have any questions at this time?
I had a question, and Pat, maybe this is a question for you. I had a question previously that might have been answered since I wasn't at the last meeting, but I know that there's an apartment complex that like literally backs up to this space. Has there been conversations already with that, the owners of that apartment complex? Because I would imagine this would be rather disruptive to folks that are living
This
behind
would
a
probably
gas
be one
station.
for Matt, but
Okay.
we do have a large landscape buffer
Okay.
from the back of our site. I don't know how many feet it is, but we're going to leave as many trees there and natural vegetation as we can
Okay.
to act as a buffer. We don't go right to the property line. I think we're, how many feet?
Well, yeah.
Quite a decent sized buffer, though.
Okay.
So along the, Jim Roseman again, Colliers Engineering Design. Along the west property line, we are proposing a 6-foot-tall vinyl screen fence, which is a bit different than what you all had seen the last time we presented the plan. That fence will, I forget the dimensions, but it's nominally 32 feet. Then there will be an 8-foot gap. In that gap would be landscaped with a deciduous tree and some shrubs around it to break up that landscape a little bit. It allows us the opportunity to plant the trees in a space that will not interfere. The branches and the roots will not interfere with the posts of the fencing. So that runs along sorry, it's 24 feet, not 32. That runs along the westerly property line up to the northwest corner of the lease area. The residual, nominally, I don't know, it's maybe 100 feet, what that lot 14 was. That will remain undisturbed, so the trees that are north of the development site and along that west side, back where the old residence and that slab, those trees would remain. So,
Okay. That helps me. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Great. Thank you.
Point of clarification, if I may.
Sure.
Clarify which,
Yeah,
talking about the same trees.
So the trees to the north that Mr. Gillespie, I think, indicated a lot of them are being saved. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a separate lot. It's a separate parcel.
The property agreement, the lease agreement does provide Meyer full use of Lot 14 as well. What we've described and defined in the lease area is that which is being developed.
The additional 5 feet.
So the additional 5 feet in that. So everything south of that is what we are intending to disturb and develop. Everything to the north of that would remain
Lot 14,
Lot 14.
which isn't part
Which
of the
is-
legal description of the proposed project.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted clarification.
Correct, yes. That is still, I'm not sure legally, maybe I can get
It is
some
part of the
clarification.
lease agreement, so if it does need to be made a part of the site plan approval, it can be added. So it is part of their leased land, they're choosing not to develop it back there and to leave it natural.
Beyond the 5 feet?
Beyond the 5 feet, yes, the entire buffer area.
That land will still remain as the property owner's property. It will not be Meyer's property. They have a lease agreement to use it if they need it.
No, Jim, you guys are leasing the land, Myers leasing the land, you just chose not to develop it to the north.
Okay.
So it'll be left in its natural vegetation. It is part of your lease. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm a little confused.
Okay, I'm very confused.
Yeah, so the original proposal was for the combination of 3 parcels for the development of Meyer. They acquired an additional 5 feet to move it to the north to accommodate the site development as proposed originally and manage that sidewalk. What it sounds like is they've now expanded their lease agreement to allow use of the northern lot that's not originally part of this development to preserve some trees. And Mr. Gillespie
Do you
can
mind if
correct
I-
me if I've stated that wrong.
It's always been part of their lease agreement since day one. There's been no modification. the part where we were disturbing is the legal description we gave you, but that's always been part of it, and it's always going to be left natural. So there's been no modification or change.
I guess that was never clear, so thank you.
It's just not clear enough, correct.
So who owns lot 14 and can it,
Gillespie Group owns the entire Lot 14 and the Meyer parcel, and we are leasing Lot 14 and the entire parcel to Meyer, doing a long-term land lease with them.
Okay.
So we will continue to own it and manage it, and they will have use of it through lease rights.
And say that they wanted to develop that portion that they're leasing, would that again come back to the planning commission?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Any changes from this, they would need to come back to your body.
So
I got it.
while you're up,
Saving those trees.
related to that, so all the wastewater retention projects and all of the infrastructure, Meyer is doing that on your property, or you're doing that for Meyer and they're buying the use of that?
Meyer is going to develop, do you mind if I go? Meyer is going to develop the entire site, and they have done wastewater treatment, takeoffs, runoffs. So this site will actually help the flowage. I know we're all concerned about the flooding to the south. This will actually get better because the water does not flow to the south in this site. We're going to flow it to the north. So the wastewater treatment plant will actually, this site will give off less water than it did before as it's undeveloped.
So again, not to get into your business,
Yep.
but I mean, are you paying for that, or does Meyer pay?
Meyer pays for all of that.
Okay,
They just lease the land from us and they do all the work from there.
okay.
Anything else?
great, any other questions from commissioners? Thank you for that clarification, appreciate
Thank
it. We have one last final card.
I do have a question.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
I'm
have
sorry.
a point of clarification from
Yes.
staff. Does that accurately reflect your understanding of the situation, that if Meyer wanted to develop further into Lot 14, that they would have to come back to Planning Commission for approval?
If it's
Is
less
that
than-
your understanding?
If it's less than 5%, it could be administratively approved, so it wouldn't have to come back to planning commission.
If it's less than 5%? Okay.
Less than 5% of the overall plan, or what do you mean by less?
The overall site
The overall plan, okay.
for special use, yeah, 5%.
But you still would have the ability to make a decision?
The
If-
zoning administrator would.
Yeah, if it meets the requirements of the zoning ordinance, we would approve it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Denault. Any other questions before we move on? To our final speaker this evening, Mr. Rob, I'm sorry, El-Heniki, sorry.
Sorry, I wasn't quite sure if I should come up here during communication from citizens or during the public hearing, but I think you asked for everyone to come up during the public hearing right here. My name is Rob El-Heniki. I live at 1505 Stonegate with my wife and kids. We've been in that neighborhood for about 12 years now. My third house in East Lansing. I could walk to all of them from that one. I am here because I think it's important that not only do I share my support of this right here, but also I wasn't able to get this into your packets right here, but I have approximately just a little over 100 people that have actually written their support on this project right there. My daughter just graduated East Lansing High School a couple weeks ago. One of the benefits of doing that is you do get to see a lot of your neighbors going to all these graduation parties and everything right there. And I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of people about this development right here. And I can tell you, if you talk to your neighbors, if you talk to kids that just graduated, if you talk to retired people, parents, grandparents, moms, dads, if you talk to people at the Cap City Soccer Club, they are in support of this project going forward right there. The convenience that this is going to offer, I completely agree with what was said about traffic right there. Anyone who frequents this area right there knows the most dangerous turn is that left-hand turn out of the speedway right there. This is actually going to alleviate a lot of that going forward. A lot of our support has come from the Hawks Nest neighborhood as well as the White Hills neighborhood. And again, I urge you, if you just speak to the general citizens, not the ones who show up here, but the ones who are willing to actually sign right here, and I'm happy to share all these, and these will be in the packet for the city council tomorrow. I think you're going to see that there is overwhelming support for this opportunity that we're lacking in East Lansing right now. And so I just wanted to come up here and say I was urging your support because I can speak for myself as well as everyone in my house that we're very excited about it. And happy to answer any questions. And I'm also happy to share these letters with you. I'm sure there's a lot of names. In fact, a couple of former planning commissioners that are in this packet of support letters right now.
Yes, I'd like to follow up. I would like to ask a question, so thank you for that. I saw something from the Cap City group. It didn't have 100 signatures
No.
in the packet, so I would like to see that.
Okay.
Would you mind bringing that
Yeah,
forward?
I'm still in the process of can I approach?
Yeah, you sure can. Yep, thanks for asking.
Yep. If you look, there's names on the back of some of them. And then the Hawks Nest group is coming over, and those will all be in the packet.
And you're going to present this to the, city council at tomorrow's meeting, is that correct?
Yes,
Is that what I
will have
understand?
it all electronically put
Okay.
in there, and there's actually probably 20 more.
Okay, when did you collect these? Where were you? At open houses and just?
I have actually had that with me in my car, and I've walked my neighborhood as well as run into just random people, and I've actually had people come over to my house to
Okay,
sign it.
thank you.
It was the most informal yet effective way of holding this issue in the city, I believe.
Some would agree with that. I'm not sure everybody would, but some would agree with that. Not everybody, perhaps. Thank you.
Yep.
Great, thank you for your comments. So, I'm not sure what to do. We've had another card from a member who's already spoken. He didn't use his full time. Should we, is once at the podium done, or should we allow?
That's your call, Chair.
Mr. Greg Maxon, go ahead and.
I support that.
And I think he only took
We
a,
have 5 minutes, I thought.
right, sure.
I just wanted to clarify, I did have a chance to meet with Jason and Rob. Rob is the Gillespie Group's lobbyist, so there is a special interest there. Just wanted to clarify that and make sure. And we got a chance to meet and discuss the development in general. So wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. Thank you.
Great.
I'm not aware of
Thank you.
that. That's helpful, too. Thank you.
Wait, Rob, who just spoke?
Yeah. Okay.
wanna make sure.
So those are all of our cards for public comment. Let's close the public hearing now.
You know, before we do that, this little interaction here at the end is curious to me. Pat, Mr. Glo, could you come on up? Would you confirm that this is your lobbyist? I don't want Dr. Maxon to necessarily say that. Would you confirm that he is and does work for you? I mean, the
Absolutely.
signatures are
Yes, yes, he
valid?
does.
Okay, okay. That's good. Thank you.
Good. And he is a citizen of East Lansing as well.
I got that. Yep, very good. A good citizen. Thank you.
Okay. So, so where are we at now? Do we have a motion? Should we ask for a motion to,
Have a motion so you can have discussion.
okay. Oh, is there a motion for discussion? Actually, can
There's a
I?
motion to allow you.
Yeah.
Can I jump
Commissioner
in? If
Overby,
we're
yeah.
gonna, we can potentially have another motion on this request. If we're going to do that, I suggest that we have a motion to reconsider the decision that we've already made. So we first have that motion, and then if that passes, then we have a second motion that addresses the request.
I may have to disagree because the previous motion doesn't count because it wasn't advertised correctly. So the noticing requirements hadn't been satisfied according to the Michigan and Zoning Enabling Act.
So the previous motion and decision doesn't count?
Essentially, yeah, our attorney suggested that, especially because the mix of commissioners is different, that another vote should be taken tonight. The motion to reconsider isn't required. You can. Typically, a motion to reconsider would be taken at the following meeting if you felt that there was an issue with the vote, and it would be need to be volunteered by the winning side, so to speak.
Right, I understand.
And there wasn't for the
Yeah.
past motion.
I think you need a motion. I mean, I'm more than willing to make a motion here if you're considering that.
Sure, yes.
Okay?
Commissioner Chapin?
Okay, so I'm going to make a positive motion. I don't want this to infer that this may be the way I vote. I just think it's the best way to present this for us to vote on, okay? So I would move to recommend approval of a special use request from Matt Levitt. Am I saying that correct, Matt Levitt? Okay. On behalf of Meyer Incorporated to construct a 5,751 square foot gas station with 6 gas pump islands and 12 pumps for the following reasons. The proposed development does meet all applicable ordinance requirements. The proposal does meet the standards of review identified in sections 5038 and 5094A of the Code of Ordinances. And 3, the proposed use of the property is compatible with surrounding land uses and will not adversely impact the use and enjoyment of adjacent properties.
Is there a second?
And Commissioner, can I just
Sure.
request that you would also at least refer to the conditions that are included in that sample motion? You don't need to read it out unless you'd like to, but you
And
should
I
at
would,
least refer to it.
I'm sorry, and I would add number 4, the following conditions of approval shall apply, and they are outlined 1 through 10, 1 through, keep going, Dave. Keep going, 1 through 14, in the packet presented for us tonight on June 16th, 2025. How's that? Okay?
Thank you, very
Yep.
thorough. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Commissioner Chapin and seconded by Commissioner Sobolewski.
Good job.
Thank you. Discussion? Any discussion on this?
Yes, I'd like to discuss with my fellow commissioners here a little bit.
Yes.
And really sort of engage in some conversation within the commission. I think I'd like to hear what we're all thinking here. So, and I don't mind going first. So, that said, I'm very anxious to hear. That's why I want to move this conversation along. So, listen, I want to, first of all, go back. I unfortunately was not able to be here for the last vote, even though I raised some questions, and I was very curious about this project and wanted to make sure we did the right thing. Family took precedence, no apologies. That's just the way it worked out for me. So in some ways, I know there's another layer here for everybody, but I'm glad to be back in the conversation and part of a vote going forward. So I think some people mistook my inquiry as suggesting or promoting moving this gas station back in front of the original Meyer station. And Mr. Levitt, I think it was a comment that you made that Landon corrected or clarified that sort of got us off on a path of we better check the history before we move forward. Alicia did a great job with that, and I appreciate that you brought the history forward. Although I wasn't here to vote, I think it enabled us to be in a better position to vote. So I just want to make sure that my comments weren't mistaken. I just thought we needed additional information. I never proposed moving this back to in front of a gas station. So a couple of points here. I think in this position I found myself balanced between business-friendly community or resident-friendly community, and there's that tension, that tussle that I think is a part of this conversation right now. And I think we want to be both. I don't think we want to be just in favor of residential community or residents or just in favor of business. I think we want to be both, and so we take these on case by case, hearing by hearing. I also want to say a lot of respect for Meyer. Just as Dr. Maxon said, I love Myers. We go there all the time. I spend a lot of money there, not only in our community, but across the state and beyond. So my vote has nothing to do with anything but respect for Meyer. And the Gillespie Group, Pat, you've had a great vision and major contribution to our community. And the engineering here, the architect, I mean, this is a really sweet design and everything. I'm sort of approaching this from a macro perspective. The reality is the micro is everything's in place. Every dot is dotted, every T is crossed, and the micro is here. I'm approaching this from a macro. I just don't think that corner is the right spot for another gas station. And I don't think the community's in favor of that. I appreciate what you brought forward, Mr. Haneke, but I think that's a tight corner. I think it's compressed, and I think the community will not like that being any tighter than it already is. Has nothing to do with respect for the group, the plan in front of us, but my vote will be no, because I think that's a little tight, and I favor the input from the community here, and I want to get out there and say that. Perhaps the city council will see it differently, so be it, but there's one person's opinion.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Chapin. I'd like to hear from other people who haven't talked on this yet. Any commissioners have anything they'd like to add?
So I made comments before about the use of that, and that being a prime, what will eventually, over the next 50 years, undoubtedly be a key business location. And it'll be, it may change over time. I think the infrastructure and the care that a large corporation like Meyer, that's Michigan-based, that cares about communities and doesn't want to see contamination and their name associated in the same newspaper article, I think they're going to handle that the right way. And for that reason, you know, as we value the tax increments and the development that comes from a wider use of the property, as long as it's purportedly safe or as safe as it can be, certainly more safe than the gas station between Frandor that you take your life in your own hands trying to get in and out of every single day. I'm in favor of it. I just think, as I said before, I think it's going to be developed, and this seems like a great way to develop it.
Great, thank you. I don't think we have to, express whether or not we're in favor or against something else. I mean, I do like to have a discussion, and if everyone has already made up their minds, it seems a little moot to have a discussion, so.
It's not, it's something that I walked away thinking I wish I would have
think
talked about the infrastructure
right.
at the last meeting.
Okay.
Fortunately, this gives me a chance to say that.
Right, awesome.
And likewise,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Commissioner
Yeah.
Janalt?
I think just reflecting some of the comments that I made at our last vote, I think I agree with Commissioner Chapin in that I like the design that has been brought to us this fourth time. And so I really appreciate the sort of cooperation with city staff and with city council. And I appreciate the comments, I think, too, about the traffic situation. Going through this intersection on almost a weekly basis, right, I think there's certain mechanisms or structural elements that are going to deter making dangerous traffic decisions, but I think we all have experienced actual driving. And I think it just gives me anxiety to add more density to this already pretty dangerous intersection. But I think even more than the traffic concerns that I have, I think based on the fact that this type of project does not fit the future land use map, that other past commissioners and city staff have done good work and thoughtful planning to develop for us, and it feels like a lack of acknowledgement or a sort of dismissal on that work that had been put in to say, well, thank you for that work, but that doesn't matter now. And I know times change, I know context changes, but all the same, I think looking at the work that past staff and commissioners have done to define this is what we think is ideal for this corner is important to me. And I think to me it just comes down to this does not strike me as thoughtful planning, right? To build a gas station across the street from another gas station, to me, does not constitute, what we're called here to do, which is to be thoughtful planners for our city. And so I think, yeah.
Thank you for those thoughtful comments, Commissioner Janelle. Can we talk about two of the things that she raised? I think one point is about the traffic, and I would like to talk about the disparity between the traffic study that says it's not going to be a problem, and all the people who have written in, and my own experience at that corner, I've seen accidents there, right? I've seen people, the problem is people are swerving into the gas station on the south. So if there's one on the north and south, I mean, we could talk about that. And the other thing I'd like to talk about is your second, bring it back to me, what was your second point?
Thoughtful planning, or
Oh,
future land use
So the
map.
difference between the B2 zoning that is there now and the comprehensive plan that would be a C1, which was approved in 2018, that would not allow for a gas station at that spot. So can we talk about that first? What do you guys think about this disparity in the zoning? Right now it's B2, but the comprehensive plan is a C1, which would not allow for gas stations. Any?
I'm very concerned about that disparity, and I agree with the concerns that have been mentioned on the issue of thoughtful planning and what do we want to be in this position. I appreciate the work that Meyer has done, and we asked for some changes in the plan, and you worked with the city in good faith to do that, and I recognize that. I'm also very concerned about the issue of thoughtful planning and traffic, and I fail to see how adding another business that will add a significant traffic flow won't make this a less safe corner. Now I recognize I'm not a traffic engineer, but it seems to me that it's going to be less safe. And I wrestle with the issue of thoughtful planning and what do we want in the city on this spot, and that wasn't what the city said in their plan.
Thank you.
I think, I just to, I think, better articulate one of my concerns when it has to do with traffic and safety at that intersection. I think it's not only the traffic in this already sort of chaotic and dangerous intersection. I think one of the things that gives me a special pause is the fact that it's a main pedestrian and biking route, right? Some people are taking the Northern Tier Trail, but I think I have additional concerns for pedestrians and bicyclists who are trying to go up to, right, the soccer complex, go up to the softball complex, up to the aquatic center. And so I just want us to also keep that in mind, that, the traffic to me, or the danger of traffic, is not just to other drivers, but it's also to pedestrians in an intersection that I think is very focused on recreation. So
Yes.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Because of the aquatic center.
Yeah, the aquatic center, the soccer complex, basically everything north, right, is.
Anyone else like to talk about either of these two issues, the traffic?
She might not know the answer. Is there a bike lane when Dolmac, don't they head out that way? Is there a bike lane?
I don't think so, but I know people bike on the sidewalk.
Bike on the sidewalk, yeah.
Yeah,
You'd be crazy to bike there.
yeah.
So it'd
Like,
be-
I would ask that they please bike on the Northern Tier
Right.
Trail.
Well, that's
For
the
your
hope.
safety, please.
That is
But-
the hope, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I was just thinking, I mean,
I don't-
if there was people were hanging out on the east
Okay,
side.
there's no bike lane.
Okay.
That's it.
Predominantly.
Thank
Until this-
you.
For sure, there's not. Okay.
So my struggle on this one is I agree entirely that Meyer has been very accommodating to all of the requests that that I think the Planning Commission has made. I also struggle with, I've lived in East Lansing my whole life and also live in the White Hills neighborhood. I struggle to think of a corner in East Lansing that has a similar setup to this one, with 2 gas stations and 2 also areas on the other corners that have a number of businesses in them with this same traffic pattern. My biggest concern on this entirely, I think, is something outside of probably Meyer and even Gillespie Group's control, which is the traffic pattern, and how to rectify some of that, because there are so many lanes and you can turn on red in all directions. And so I would have no problem personally moving forward and approving this if I could rectify the traffic issue in my brain. Because I also think that, I mean, to be fair, the other 3 corners have a gas station and basically similar uses. So that's the thing that I'm mostly struggling with is the traffic. The other piece is, I remember, and the thing I would note on the traffic study is I've been on the planning commission for maybe 4 years. I don't know if we've ever gotten a traffic study that said that there was going to be a significant increase in traffic. I feel like they always come back and it's always like, the traffic will be fine. So I don't know how much I really value the traffic study, if I'm honest at this point.
Can I?
But
Oh,
the
go
only
ahead.
other thing that I would note is I do very much remember, having lived here my entire life, the housing study that the city of East Lansing had done a number of years ago, and that like the cry that everyone in the city has is that we need more housing options. And I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say we need another gas station as we develop another gas station down on Saginaw and Abbott. But those are the things that I'm struggling with. I think that the proposal before us is, I think, to your point, Commissioner Chapin, is a good one. It's just, I'm struggling with the spot and the traffic. So I don't, it's helpful to hear the discussion of other commissioners because I want to be fair to Meyer and certainly the Gillespie group. It's just a strange one for me to wrap my head around.
Can I ask a quick question of staff? Because I thought the same thing that Commissioner Lapine did. I've never seen a traffic study that said, no, this is not a good idea. And they are commissioned by the applicant, right? Do we have like a city staff person doing this? Or is there any way that we could say with fidelity, like, oh yeah, this is someone that we know? I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to suggest that anything's gone wrong here, but is there any way that we know?
Well, I think there is a trend of, traffic studies supporting the project, but for what it's worth, I mean, we do pass along all application materials to our other staffers, including the traffic engineering division, and they reviewed the traffic study. They didn't have any, that I'm aware of, have any comments about this particular traffic study.
Our engineers aren't traffic engineers, though.
Right, I did notice that there were no other concerns from the city staff about this. So that's why I was perplexing to see that study, and then also to know the intersection and to have a lot of people writing in to say how unsafe it is. I mean, everyone mentioned the safety issue at that, the people who've written in here. So for our public comment today.
I think, if I may, the only other thing that I would add is we are just the planning commission. And
Right.
I think it makes sense for us. We've, gone through this a number of times and you guys have been incredibly patient. And I think that it makes sense for us to, take some kind of action and send it to city council to make the ultimate, say, we're just the planning commission. Which sometimes I like to remind myself that my job is not really as complex as others.
Right, and the council can take or reject our recommendation.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. No matter how we vote,
Yeah.
they can make a different decision.
Thank you, commissioners. We've talked about traffic. We've talked about the zoning. Are any other big issues you'd like to talk about before we wrap it up?
I just have one additional comment. I'm really struggling with the issue of, and I would describe it as quality of life in East Lansing. What do I want my city to be? What kind of services and businesses do I want the city to support? And it's in our plan as far as what the city wants, and I'm trying to fit all of those pieces together. And you'll know my answer in a few minutes, I guess.
I do have
Sure,
maybe
Commissioner
one more
Jones.
comment. I think I'm a little troubled at the sort of disclosures that we've had here too about the ways in which signatures in support, not the way in which signatures in support were solicited, but the sort of lack of transparency and about who and to what end the signatures are being collected. I didn't get a chance to really look at the language of the signature form, but I think what would have been more transparent would have been to say, right, I am an employee of the developer or the landowner of this site. And in that case, I would have been, I think, more open to taking that at its face value To me, it and this is a very professional term, it feels very icky. And so I just wanted to maybe draw out some of my own misgivings about that process.
Great, thank you. Any other commissioner comments? So, Mr. Bartley, are we ready for a roll call vote?
Happy to.
Okay.
We have a motion on the table to approve the project that was made by Commissioner Chapin, seconded by Savaleski. Commissioner Chapin, how do you vote?
No?
Commissioner Denault?
No.
Commissioner Lapine?
No.
Commissioner Overby?
No.
Commissioner Savaleski?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Wagner?
No.
All right, the nays have it. So that motion fails.
Great. Thank you, and thank you everyone for your discussion. We'll move on to item number 7, unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? No new business either, number 8. So we'll move on to commissioner concerns. Topic number 9, do any commissioners have any concerns this evening?
I guess I just have a procedural question for staff, for future instances when we have materials that are brought in by a citizen that are not part of the packet. Are we to incorporate those into our decision-making process or not? I genuinely just don't know from a procedural perspective.
That's a really good question.
Generally, yes. I mean, I
Okay,
think that,
cool.
you know, the timing was difficult for you to have enough time to really
Yeah.
review those. So depending on how much you wanted to affect your decision-making is up to you.
Okay, great, thank you.
I think maybe we can decide that as a commission. I remember one time someone sort of waived a
The map?
no, not the map. It was a lease in my face, and I didn't really understand why.
I remember that.
Yeah, so maybe we could maybe think about it as a commission if we want to see additional things. I don't have time to sit and process and read. I mean, if we want to take 10 minutes or 15 minutes out of our meeting so we can each read something, I guess we could do that too. But
I think if it's the commission's interest, I mean, we can also set up a policy and make it very clear to applicants, or to the public. A place that I've worked before, we said, if you want it to be in the packet the week before, it needs to be in by noon of the Thursday. If you want it to be in to the commission, it needs to be in by noon that day.
Yeah.
And that way
Okay.
we'd have a chance to at least print it out for you. But we don't really have that expectation right now. I think we could add
and
something.
certainly it would be in the packet for city council. So
And on this occasion, when
Well-
you made such a strong statement, I was glad that you said, I'd like to take a look at that.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, he's very
Yeah.
verbose and
Yeah.
sure of himself, and so I'm glad you checked him.
And for what it's worth, you mentioned, I'm sorry, the council, they don't have time right now to change the packet, so if the gentleman who spoke would bring his comments tomorrow as well, it would be the same kind of approach, that he'd ask the council, would you accept these?
Okay.
Because, we talked to the clerk and we can't add anything or make changes at this point to the council packet.
And does council normally accept the additions to the
I
packet?
don't know if I could say it goes
No, okay.
all the time the same way.
We'll do. Okay.
Yeah, Generally
just-
so, but they haven't
I
also.
mean, I'm a slow reader. I need some time. I couldn't look at something on the spot and read it and then have it be part of my judgment. If someone wants
Sure.
to give us a letter that they have summarized for us orally, that's fine. But anyway, that's just me. So okay, we can.
Yeah, I think this is good discussion, and I think Chelsea sort of pinned it down by using the word icky, and I think that sort of summarizes your thinking, and so there needs to be better processes, I think, really what we're getting at, and that was a little unusual tonight. And honestly, I would not have known that until you came forward, Dr. Maxon, so I think that needs to be said.
And maybe we, as a commission, need to be a little bit more, thoughtful and critical about where our information is coming from, and to
Yeah.
ask, people who are bringing us petitions and signatures to say, what are your interests in this, other than, you're a citizen of East Lansing. you know, in that case, they don't have to be truthful with us, I guess, but I would hope that they would be.
Yeah, but how would you say that when someone comes up? What are your intentions? Please state your intentions for us. I mean, it's a little weird, right?
It is, but I think like that's, if we decide to have a discussion about how we want to, or if we want to accept, right, things that are brought to us at the meeting, I think that's maybe a discussion that we can have as well.
Yeah.
Like, how do we as a commission feel comfortable engaging with the public in that way?
Okay, great.
I just have a comment. So these additional signatures were popped on us at the last minute without information on who was behind them, and an obvious attempt to influence our decision. And I think we need to be really careful about information and how we manage it and how it's presented to us. All information has to be welcome, and it is. But this was for one position in this decision, in this debate, and I was very uncomfortable with how it was presented to us. Very uncomfortable. It did not feel right to me.
Good. Thank you, Commissioner Overby. Any other commissioner concerns? Thank you all for a great discussion. I thought this was super thoughtful. Okay, then is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Janelle, second by Overby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We are done at 8:03 p.m. Thank you.
Ed, you did.
Yeah.